Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Crack a Pack a Day. Every day I'm going to open a booster pack of Magic the Gathering cards and evaluate the contents, choosing one of them to take as if I were taking part in a draft, and this was pack 1, pick 1. Today we're going to be opening another pack of Magic Origins, the final Magic Core set. Let's take a look at what we've got. Up first is a Cobble Brute, a 5/2 elemental for 3 and a red. Whilst Cobble Brute has a high power, that toughness of 2 is more of a liability. It's a reasonable role player, but it's not something that I fancy picking first. Enshrouding Missed, an instant for white. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. If it's renowned, untap it. Enshrouding Missed is a reasonable combat trick. You'll probably play it in your deck. It gives you the chance to surprise your opponent, especially if they were attacking onto a board of only tapped creatures. If you have one that's renowned, you can untap it and maybe eat one of their creatures as a result. Overall, a nice card, but probably not my first pick. Weight of the Underworld, an aura for 3 and a black. It targets a creature which gets -3/-2. Weight of the Underworld is removal, capable of killing anything with toughness 2 or less. Theoretically you could use it to make a bigger creature smaller, but that's probably not the best use of this card. White-black does have an enchantment sub-theme in Magic Origins, but this is one of the enchantments on the lower end of the scale. It's removal, but not great removal. Possibly a first pick, but probably not. Timberpack Wolf, a 2/2 wolf creature for 1 and a green. It gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control named Timberpack Wolf. Timberpack Wolf is one of the so-called Gotta Catch 'em All cards from Magic Origins that rewards you for drafting multiple copies of an individual card. My feeling on the matter is that Timberpack Wolf is one of the more powerful ones, simply because, even if you take it as is, it's a 2/2 for 2, which is perfectly acceptable. Timberpack Wolf is probably the best card in the pack so far. Bone to Ash, an instant for 2 blue/blue. Counter target creature spell and draw a card. Even though Bone to Ash replaces itself, it's a very expensive counterspell. Counterspells aren't terribly great in draft. You might want to have one in your sideboard and then bring it in, but for the most part I don't think this one's worth taking. Nissa's Pilgrimage, a sorcery for 2 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards, reveal those cards, and put one onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest into your hand. Then shuffle your library. If you have spell mastery, then you search for 3 basic forests instead of 2. Ramp spells like this, that allow you to put extra lands into play, are usually pretty good. You accelerate yourself so that you can cast your more expensive spells sooner than your opponent can. However, Magic Origins is a fast, aggressive format. If you take your 3rd turn off to cast this, yes, you'll have more mana, but your opponent is probably attacking you with creatures in the meantime. You might not be able to survive long enough to actually cast your big cards. I like that it gets you 2 or 3 lands, but I think that it's just not worth taking in this draft format. Enlightened Ascetic, a 1/1 cat monk for 1 and a white. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target enchantment. A 1/1 for 2 is just not worth playing without additional good abilities, and its ability isn't very good. This is a sideboard card and should not be a first pick for anybody. Dura Gearcrafter, A 2/1 human artificer for 2 and a red. When Ghirapur Gearcrafter enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 colourless Thopter artifact creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Ghirapur Gearcrafter is a very good card. Its body is a little underwhelming for its mana cost, but you do get a 1/1 flying token. For 3 mana, you get 3 power and 2 toughness spread over 2 creatures, one of them in the air. Overall, I feel Ghirapur Gearcrafter is a very good card, and possibly the top pick in this pack. Rabid Bloodsucker, a 3/2 vampire for 4 and a black. It has flying, and when it enters the battlefield, each player loses 2 life. This card is very aggressive. If you were playing a defensive deck, you wouldn't want to be spending 2 life to have this enter play. Its stats aren't terribly exciting, being a 3/2 flyer for 5, but at the top end of a very aggressive deck, this card could be worth using. An okay card in the right deck, I don't think this is first pick material. Separatist Void Mage, a 2/2 human wizard for 3 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature to its owner's hand. A 2/2 for 4 isn't very exciting. On the other hand, a sorcery speed bounce spell that leaves behind a 2/2 creature for 4 isn't bad. This card can potentially win games by bouncing your opponent's only blocker and allowing your team to attack in for the win. With Magic Origins being as aggressive as it is, tempo plays like this can be very powerful. It's a fun card, and might well be the pick in this pack. Oasis Champion, a 2/2 human soldier for 1 red-white with double strike. Gold cards are tricky to evaluate, because taking them in your first pack means that you're kind of committing to that colour pair, without having any clue as to whether it's open or not. Traditionally, they're not the best thing to take pack 1 pick 1. Of all the gold cards in Magic Origins, Oasis Champion is probably the most powerful of them. A 2/2 double strike for 3 is very, very good. Red-white is also one of the most aggressive colour pairings, and this card slots into that deck perfectly. I'm a little wary of taking a gold card first, but Oasis Champion might well be it. Conclave Naturalists, a 4/4 Dryad for 4 and a green. When Conclave Naturalists enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. A 4/4 for 5 is a reasonable card, and when you tack on an ability like this, it becomes pretty decent. Conclave Naturalists is an above average card and may well be my pack 1 pick 1. Jessian Thief is a 1/3 human rogue for 2 and a blue. It has prowess, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Jessian Thief is very powerful. Despite only being a 1/3 for 3, the ability to draw additional cards every turn is very good. Prowess makes this card even better, because if you attack with open mana, your opponent is often forced into difficult situations deciding how to block. I think Jessian Thief is a good card, and may well be the pick in this pack. The Great Aurora, a sorcery for 6 green, green, green. Each player shuffles all cards from his or her hand, and all permanents he or she owns into his or her library, then draws that many cards. Each player may put any number of land cards from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Exile the Great Aurora. The Great Aurora is not a good card. To begin with, it costs 9. For a card to cost 9, I'd want it to win the game, or be close to it. In addition, what you get for your mana isn't very good. You basically wipe the board for both players and hope that you draw more lands than your opponent. The Great Aurora is certainly not going to be my pick. We also have a mountain and a goblin token. Let's have a quick review of what we've got. And here's our pack. To me, there are 4, maybe 5 first pick quality cards here. Gearcrafter, Separatist Void Mage, Oasis Champion, Conclave Naturalists, and Jessian Thief. Oasis Champion, I think, is the most difficult one to consider taking, because it's a gold card, which is a hefty requirement at Pack 1 Pick 1. If it were a total bomb, then yes, it's worth taking, but in the red-white deck, it's simply a very good card. Of the other four, they're all about equal in power level. It might all come down to what's your personal preference, perhaps what's your colour preference. For me, I think I'd want to take Jessian Thief or Gearcrafter. I like the 3 power for 3 mana on Gearcrafter. The fact that one of it's in the air is nice too. The Jessian Thief, on the other hand, I like for the fact that it can gain you repeatable card advantage. I think my pick for this pack is the Gearcrafter. Hopefully I'll be in red, and if I pick up some white cards, if the Oasis Champion comes back, maybe I can take that as my 9th pick as well. And that's about all we've got time for today. If you disagree with my choice, then please let me know in the comments below. Have a good day now.